Yo, what's going on, guys? Watomar Melon here, and I have an 18 card SGC return, or excuse me, CGC return. These are primarily modern Pokemon cards with a couple Yu-Gi-Oh cards at the top. Overall, the submission went pretty well in terms of grades, but these were submitted through Polaris Grading, which was formerly associated with PSA UK / Ludkins Collectibles. It was the US branch of Ludkins, and if you haven't heard, they had a huge dispute with their owner not paying PSA, and subsequently they also didn't pay CGC. It was just for way fewer orders. I was one of those orders that got caught up in this. So the whole thing really sucked for me because I submitted these at the end of June expecting to get them back in late July, maybe early August or so. And that's when most orders were returned who submitted in late June. However, I just got them back yesterday. So you can imagine it was a lot longer. And a lot of these cards, specifically the Pokemon ones, were like the newest set or one of the newest sets when I ended up submitting. And naturally, the prices have gone down a lot. The liquidity has gone down a lot. So I've lost, a lot of potential profit, as well as I'm going to be sitting on these cards for a lot longer due to reasons that were out of my control. So that is unfortunate, but not CGC's fault. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first one is the only real head scratcher of the submission. No idea why this got an 8.5. I mean, I've looked over the card. I don't see any problems with it. I wouldn't have submitted a card like this that's, maybe a $5 card raw unless I thought it was going to get a 9.5 or 10. I looked it over again. Corners all look good. Just centering looks fine. It's not perfect, but it's definitely good enough for an 8 or 9.5. So not sure what happened there, but it's okay. Next up, we have a 9 Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Again, I only would have submitted this had I thought it was a 9.5. Centering's a little off, but not too bad. Not exactly sure what went wrong there. As I said, overall, I think the grades were pretty fair. Here's a 9.5. Very nice. Didn't really have any gripes with them. I did pretty well. I think I'll probably get close to breaking even when all is said and done, but to have this much money, well, it's not a ton, maybe like 1,000, a little more than 1,000 between card cost and grading costs, tied up in just this whole nonsense is a little annoying, but it is what it is. I'm not going to lose any more sleep about it. Not that I did, it was just frustrating. I don't know if I mentioned this, but all of these are for sale. They should all be listed on my eBay. You can always contact me through Instagram. That way I don't have to pay fees. You're not going to have to pay sales tax. All that sort of stuff. It's just going to go a lot smoother. Here's a Blue Eye Shining. I really like these cards. I think I'm going to grade more of these. I don't know if I'll grade with CGC again in the future, now that PSA's bulk rate is down to 15, and they're actually moving through it pretty quickly. I submitted some cards, I think, in, I don't know. I forget when I submitted them, maybe like a month and a half, 2 months ago, and they're already, ready to be shipped back. This is a PSA bulk rate of 15. Those cards are, I think, higher quality cards than these in terms of, they're rare, older, that sort of stuff. This is probably the highlight for me of the entire submission because I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh guy, and Blue Eye Shining is a beautiful card. This is a beautiful copy of the card. Obviously, this is not a Retro Pack 2 Blue Eye Shining, but I think people still pay quite a bit of a premium for Blue Eye Shining Dragon cards, even from Legendary Collection Kaiba, and it's not too hard to see why. I mean, the foiling looks awesome. But I have that PSA submission coming in. I was hoping it would be back before Christmas. I have a feeling that it's not going to be returned back before then. So starting with some Pokemon, you can kind of gauge when these cards were actually sent in from when these sets were released. I'm not the biggest Pokemon guy. I don't personally collect really any Pokemon. I have a couple of cards, but these are really, really beautiful. The last game I really played as a kid was Pokemon Pearl and Diamond. And, some of these are nostalgic for me. Seeing Palkia, Dialga, stuff like that. Here's another one. I think I got 3 9.5s on this Dialga chase card out of Time Gazer. Really cool one, though. In retrospect, I think had I had them a month after I submitted them, would have made some good money on those, but now I'll probably break even, maybe make a little bit. Here's a pretty awesome card that I should make quite a bit. This is the alternate art Charizard card. The sad thing is, this one, I was buying this for the same price as the other hyper rare Charizard. You'll see some, I think I have 4 of those in this submission. Same price that I paid for this one as the other one, but this one has retained so much more value. It was just harder to find these like in good condition. I don't know why. I think I probably should have been clued into the fact that people would want this one more than they wanted the other one, but you know, it is what it is. That one's pretty happy as a 9.5. Here's some Palkia. I really love the sort of the Escher style drawing here. It's an awesome card. I mean, I really like how these things look, even though these are all, you know, not personal collection cards. Still very beautiful cards nonetheless, and I can see why someone else would want to collect them. I don't know. I had to do a second take on this submission, or this graded return, because I messed up the recording of the first one. So I don't remember if I've already mentioned this, but you know, if I started a collection again, I probably would buy CGC slabbed cards, and also SGC. It's just, when I started collecting, you really only could grade through PSA and BGS. I guess SGC was around, but I think when I first graded in June 2021, I sent my first submission to SGC. There were 3 SGC Yu-Gi-Oh cards listed on eBay. There was just nothing. And so, you know, naturally no one was grading with them, and I had started, you know, a year and a half before that collecting these cards. So I really, my collection's almost exclusively in PSA. But if I had to do it over again starting now, you know, I'd definitely start with CGC and SGC, because, you know, I was looking at some prices, and like these 9.5s go for pretty similar prices to PSA 9s, and it's easier to get the PSA 9. Obviously, it's easier to get the 9.5 than the PSA 10, but I mean, a lot of the logic kind of goes out the window when it comes to sort of what people are paying for. And it's not like you can't find this in CGC slabs. I just don't understand sort of the disparity in price between PSA and CGC. I would anticipate, I know there's this, you know, line of thought among card collectors, a lot of sports card collectors, that PSA, oh, this is an awesome one, got a pristine 10 on this, but I need to mention, it's crazy that the pristine 10 sells for the same as the PSA 10 as well. It's just like, what is going on here? But a lot of collectors think that sort of there's going to be this convergence of prices because the market's inefficient right now. People don't really understand what they're buying. Once all is said and done, PSA probably will hold a little bit of a premium over the other grading companies, but it shouldn't be as drastic as it is right now. I think people are mistaken when they think that the other companies are going to, you know, their cards are going to appreciate to PSA prices. I think it makes more sense that PSA prices are just going to drop more relative to these other card companies, until, you know, PSA maybe is 15% more expensive than CGC when all is said and done. I don't know. But, you know, the fact that this is the same as a PSA 9 and this is the same as a PSA 10, I mean, honestly, I think this would probably be a PSA 10. I have considered, you know, and I'm considering it, if these cards don't sell quickly, I might just crack them out and send them to PSA because the liquidity is improved. I'll probably make money by cracking the 9.5s and getting PSA 10s. So it's just like, and these are all, you know, I bought these a month after the set released, and it's not like these cards were really playable. So, you know, they're basically in pack fresh condition, and so, you know, you just look at the centering, look at the corners, looks good, and then it's probably fine. Here's a pristine 10. This is the card I was talking about when I compared it to where did it go? The other Charizard, the Altard. Oh, here it is. I was comparing it to this card. These two cards were raw the same price when I was buying them to submit. It's a little crazy how the price disparity has changed, although I can see why. You know, there's been a ton of hyper rare Charizard cards. This alt art is pretty well liked and has been well received by collectors, so it's understandable in that sense, but unfortunate for me because these were a lot easier to buy than these, and sort of mint condition. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. There's a pristine 10. Hopefully I'll make a little bit of money on the pristine 10s. I imagine the 9.5s I'll probably, oh, here's another pristine 10. I'll probably, break even or so. Here's a 9.5. So of the Japanese hyper rares, I got 2 pristine 10s and 1 9.5. I actually bought, I think, 8 of these things. I sold 5, or maybe it was 7, and I sold 4 raw, something like that. The ones that I wasn't confident would gem. I'm sure that all of these would gem. I don't really remember whether I was expecting pristine 10s on 2 of these or not. But, I didn't get a single card less than 9.5 that was Pokemon, so did all right there, even though I don't really collect Pokemon. And then here's an English Charizard V-Star. I paid so much money for this thing. The price, I paid a premium on the price, and then the price dropped like 2 weeks after I bought this thing. And then on top of that, the price just plummeted, 6 months later or 5 months later. I don't know how long ago it was that I bought this thing, so it's kind of sad, even though I got a gem on it, that I think I'll, even if I sell at the, lowest price on eBay right now, despite getting a gem at 9.5, I'll lose, probably $30, $40 after fees compared to what I paid for it raw. But it is what it is. Let me know what you guys thought. This was just a random sort of CGC return. All of these are on my eBay. You can hit me up on IG if you're interested in any. It's been your boy, Watomormelon. Peace out.